Hey everybody, this is AJ Malenfant.
Hey everybody, this is Dominic Labella.
And this is Hey Bay City.
AJ, how'd you get into skateboarding?
You know, honestly, it was my dad. He had a skateboard when I was wee high, like maybe 4. And I used to take it outside and just stand on the tail, stand on the nose and go back and forth. And I would just always be on the sidewalk. My dad would always tell me about he used to skateboard all the time and him and his friends would be on half pipes. And I just thought it was so cool. And so I always wanted to be that in my life.
Yeah. Did you X Games? Were you an X Games kid?
Oh, yeah. In 4th grade, the X Games were huge. They actually had the X Games out in Rhode Island and we went out to my family out there and I wanted to go see it and I didn't understand at the time you'd have to get tickets and it'd be a big event and everything.
You could just show up.
Yeah, you could just show up to the X Games, no big deal, right?
Right. Dominic, how about you? How'd you get into skating?
So all my elementary school friends did it growing up, so I eventually conned my parents into getting one for me and just kind of putzed around in the front yard, skating down the sidewalk until I realized I live a block and a half away from the skate park. So migrated there and all my friends took me under their wing and kind of taught me the ropes.
Yeah. Here in Bay City? Did you grow up here in Bay City?
Yep.
Dominic? Okay. Did you have somebody teaching you how to skate or did you just show up and hack your way through or how did that happen?
I think it was a mix of helpful friends and peer pressure. They taught me how to go down ramps, but then pressured me into go down the next big one. And I was wearing a helmet, but as I made it to the 7-foot ramp, I went down it, and it was my first day, but went down it, slipped out, hit the back of my head, knocked the wind out of myself.
Oh.
Toast.
Oh. This sounds super scary, but I guess I'll do it, and then you find out the hard way.
Yeah, and then learn by doing.
Yeah, right. So, AJ, you said Rhode Island? You grew up in Rhode Island or near Rhode Island?
No, my dad's side of the family is out in Rhode Island.
Okay. East Coast.
Yeah, of course. But loved it because when we went there, it was always time to eat. It was awesome. It was you wake up, you get breakfast, and then it's snack time, and then it's lunchtime, and then it's after lunch snack time, and then it's dinner time.
Right.
Oh, I was in heaven. It was beautiful.
Right. So we were just at Bay Area Chamber of Commerce Eye Opener. You're part of a veteran-led business owner panel. And that's something that I want to talk about for just a second is your military service. First of all, what got you into the military? What was the initial pull?
It's really funny how it happened. It was a college night at the high school. And I always wanted to join the Air Force. I always wanted to fly airplanes. Always, always, always. And so we went there and I went over to the Air Force and they looked at me and they just gave me the up and down, you're not going to fly with us.
Oh, no.
Okay, just like that. You just know that.
What was the reason? Did they give you a reason? They just said no?
Well, now, after the fact, they didn't have a quota for pilots. They didn't really care. They wanted the other jobs filled. So they just oh, no, you're not going to be a pilot. So my girlfriend at the time went over to her friend's dad, who was a recruiter for the Army National Guard. And then his buddy overheard that conversation, was hey, man, no, we got helicopters. Be a pilot for us. I'm oh. Okay, then. So next thing you know, here I am, a junior in high school, and I'm like, Mom, can you sign these papers so I can join the Army?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, a done deal. At one point in high school, I was interested in joining the military. And then I forget exactly what the group, maybe it was a church group or a youth group or something like that. And I went paintballing with a bunch of 3rd through 5th graders. And here I am, senior in high school, thinking I'm gonna crush these third graders in paintball, whatever. And I'll never forget, I was running through this forest, and they had all these barricades built, and I was hiding behind this barricade, thinking I'm Rambo. And I look through the barricade on the other side. I see these 4 sets of eyes looking at me through the barricade, just giggling. Pop, 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 pop. I just get blasted by these 5th graders, and I said, okay, maybe the military is not for me.
But that's a valuable lesson right there.
Yeah.
Never stop moving. And you can use that advice in any aspect of your life. Never stop moving.
That's true. So in the National Guard, talk me through the beginning of that.
Of course. So as I said, I wanted to fly. I always wanted to help people. The goal was to go into warrant officer school, be a pilot and help people and take them, from A to B and out of situations to hospitals, whatever the case is. But that's not actually what happened. It was just a different path. I still happened, but just a different way. And I joined as a mechanic. Went to basic training between junior and senior year. After senior year, went to AIT and learned how to become a tank mechanic, work on M1s, 113s, basically ambulance tanks and stuff. And then after that, immediately came back home, went overseas to Iraq the first time with a Grayling unit and 1071st Maintenance Company. We went over to a couple different places in Iraq, one being Ramadi, Iraq. It was a very fun place. But we helped the Marines and we supported all the M1s on the Army side of the house too. My team was M1s, the other side was Bradley's. And it's just a really like calming experience, a very humbling experience, just seeing some of the things that we've seen. So
I'm going to stop you there because here you are going to Iraq, you're working on tanks, and you just said it was a very calming experience. Tell me why.
Well, it was, it's a different mindset. Honestly, at that time, there's no laptops, there's no phones. Like, you got to know people. You know, we all stayed in a tent. We all, we stayed in a tent. We played lots of cards. I played so many euchre and hearts that year. But you really get to know people, your squad leader. You really learn a lot about leadership and what you want to be when you grow up. You learn, you see other people, and you learn what you don't want to be as well. But you really understand who you are, and you push yourself through some limits. Of course, there's bad things that happen, but even as like temperature, right? You're out there working 140-degree heat. Oh well, the job's got to get done. Same thing. The desert gets cold, so cold. So it might be 40 degrees out there, but it's just absolutely freezing because if you're used to 140, 40 is just like negative 300.
Right.
Yeah. One story that I'll never forget is we're on a convoy. You see all these mud huts, like there's villages and stuff, but I really want to talk about this one mud hut that I remember. And this mom, in her full garb and stuff, was outside, and I don't remember what she was doing. It looked like farming, but the kids were outside with her too. And the kids were all like, Americans, and they're waving. They're like, hi, and they just loved it. And we're like waving back. Then the mom picks up rocks and just starts wailing them at the kids, like basically get inside. Oh, wow. And I'm just like, wow, I will never forget that moment. And like, how can you throw stones at your kids? Like, get inside. But like, I could probably understand like, well, is something going to happen? I don't know. Or these people are bad. It's just a different mindset you would never see here.
Yeah, you also told at the Chamber Eye Opener another story.
Oh,
Can you tell that story?
You're talking specifically at the detainee facility. We had on Sundays, it was visitation. So in 2008, 2009, I deployed with the Midland National Guard unit, the 1460th. We went over to a place called Camp Bucca. Camp Bucca was one of the biggest detainee facilities in Iraq. And it was just a sea of yellow as all these detainees. They're all wearing yellow. I still have a hard time with that color, but it's okay. And so every Sunday we would do visitation, and these detainees got to be humans for just a little bit. They got to see their families, got to see their wives, their mothers, their grandparents, and their children. Well, and then as soldiers, we were able to go over there and play with the kids and kind of keep them entertained. And then there's this one little boy, and we were just playing ball. We were rolling it back and forth and just having fun. And it was crazy because I couldn't speak his language, he couldn't speak my language, but we still had like this common connection. And I took him over to the swing set, and even though he knew that I was trying my best, but I was able to pull him back, and I'd go wide and push him forward and back, knee in, and then forward and back, and then he'd yell "Pate," which essentially translates to 1, 2, 3, and then we're just laughing. So even though we couldn't really talk and have a conversation, we definitely had that connection. He knew what I was doing, and I knew what he was doing. It was just an amazing experience.
One kind of question while we're on this topic. When you came back, and we'll get to this more in just a second, how did your experience shape your perception of the world?
There's a joke, especially on the internet now, first world problems, but it's totally true. Seeing some of the people that I met, the food that I've ate, just the things I've seen, just very beautiful skyscrapers and sunsets and even deserts and whatever the case is. But the views are awesome. The people are awesome, amazing. The stories, there's people out there that were in the Iraqi detainee center. So not only did I have Iraqi detainees, I had Iraqi correction officers. They risked their life to come into work every day to then guard their own people. And then one day knowing that we're eventually going to pull out, the war's going to end, and they're going to have to be on the same streets with them. So that's a huge risk, but it was something that they were willing to do, and we always got to talk about like their families and just understanding them as people, and it's just incredible.
So AJ graduates, he goes into the National Guard. Dominic, after high school, what's your plan?
So I didn't really have much of a plan, honestly. I kind of went to college for the like make my parents happy degree.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It's expensive. It's a little on the pricey side, but it's a good one.
Yeah. And I went for 2 years and realized like not really up my alley yet. Just kind of living my early 20s, skateboarding, hanging out. Was planning to move to San Francisco a couple times.
Oh really?
I went for a few months.
What was it? What was in San Francisco?
A lot of friends. The skateboarding scene was pretty cool there, and I had been there a handful of times, and just like still is my favorite place in America. So
yeah, it is. San Francisco is red. I've got an uncle that lives in San Francisco. If you get off the piers and you actually go into San Francisco, super cool. Otherwise, you're everybody's throwing the same San Francisco like plastic whistles and T-shirts at you, pier after pier after pier. But you get into actually San Francisco, it's dope.
Yeah, like the city life and like the vibe is just it's laid back and just like relaxing.
Yeah.
But I was paying $950 to live in my friend's living room with it was like a Japanese like paper folding wall behind fold out bed.
And what year was this?
2016, 15, something around there.
And I'm sure that living room's probably 4 times the price right now.
It was outside of the city. In my friends, like I was living with a friend's family, and they were just super welcoming. But
wild.
Yeah, it's probably $2,000 now.
Yeah, wild. So you're thinking San Francisco. Then what?
So I was there for a few months, and then kind of living out of your suitcase in a living room is like brutal. But I also was just living there to skateboard and like soak up life, so I wasn't making enough to find my own place. So I was just like, I'm gonna go back home, and just kind of do what I was doing here. Just enjoy life, work enough to be happy, but not go too far.
Right.
And just skateboard as much as I could for the most part.
Oh, cool. So let's fast forward a little bit. I'm interested in like, when did you guys meet? Because this to me is kind of like the seed of the story of Major Skate. But do you guys remember when you met, where you met?
Oddly enough, I specifically remember the day.
P.S. We just talked about this before the interview.
Yes.
Tell me about the day.
Okay, so it was April 3rd, 2021. It was a cold, warm day.
Did you say cold, warm day?
Cold, warm day. Like, just enough for a hoodie, but maybe not quite a t-shirt,
It's mixed.
Oh,
okay.
No. But anyway,
Michigan.
I had started to get back into skateboarding the year before in 2020. Right in February, I bought I was working in the office a lot, and so I decided to buy a complete skateboard, and it got me out of the office to start going back to skate parks. And I started to come back home a lot. For a hot minute, I lived in Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Long story short, I'm back now.
Why? Why Pittsburgh?
Chasing that American dream. Yep.
I gotcha.
Yep.
How long were you there?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I lived in Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh, and then ultimately found my way back home.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so I'm at the skate park. I'm just enjoying life and just trying to get better and just not work remotely and not try to work more just to be on more conference calls, to do more PowerPoints, to do more Excel sheets. Though I'm great at Excel. Low key brag there. But like, I'm okay if I don't use those skills again. But anyway, so I'm at the skate park and I'm watching like the way that Dom is skating. He's there with his friend Christian, who's also a really great, really humble dude too. Everybody in the skateboarding community is just really great people.
Yeah.
There's something about like just brings us all together. But anyway, I'm watching Dom skate. I'm like, oh yeah, he's really good. Like, cool. And he kept doing this one thing, which is called just bumping into the bowl or over the coping and then right into the ramps. And I'm like, how do you do that? And even though like I could do it, I just needed that confidence. I need like that little bit of a boost to be like, yeah, you got this. Just boom. And so
yeah, because in that move, you're essentially staring at the edge of a cliff.
Yes.
And you're, as soon as you drop in, your board's going to be going very fast in a direction, and either you're going with it or you're going to the cement. So like you're staring at the edge of the abyss going, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, and if you ever watch Dom skate, like he doesn't care how his board is. He'll just like go in, like whatever. He'll kick his foot off. He'll jump in. He'll like spin. Like he'll just push it over. Like it's really weird. Like Dom has like a do not give a effort into skateboarding. It's really cool. It's very laissez-faire, but like I admire that. Like I'm gonna ask this dude, and then totally expect him to be like, just do it, and no, he went above and beyond. He's like, oh, here, let me show you a couple different things. This is what helped me, and here now. You try. Like, I'm going to give you this advice. Now, go ahead and try. Like, oh, man.
Now the pressure's on.
Put him on the spot.
I thought he was just going to be like, this is what you do. Peace.
Yeah, right?
Not that easy.
Dom, from your perspective, tell me this, how you guys met.
So, like you said, it was a cold, warm day, April. No, but I was skating with my friend Christian, and I think it was probably just like the three of us there.
Yeah.
And, seeing someone contemplate or like try a trick, whatever. I never want to give like unsolicited advice because sometimes that can come off.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, not that guy at all. But I kind of saw like an opening to like at least be like, hey, blah blah blah. And he probably, I have grown up at that. I've been skateboarding there for 15 years, so I tried to not be the guy who's been there for 15 years. That's rude, that's no one's friend. So like I try to go out of my way and like talk to everyone or skate with everyone, etc. And I was like, hey, have you tried it like this? Or just kind of like wedging my foot in the door a little bit, and then it was well received rather than like get away from me, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And so I just, like I said, skateboarding for 15 years, I have done that trick probably 10,000 times. So I was like, this worked for me when I was learning it. And sure enough, a couple fails and he learned it, which is awesome.
Yeah. This kind of the cool thing about skate parks is because like skateboarding, BMX, inline, whatever you're doing, if you're doing it in the street, like you got to be very intentional about meeting up with people. Hey, do you want to meet here? Do you want to go skate here? Wherever. But the skate park essentially creates this hub of people who are into the same things as you, into the same scene as you. You show up, and spontaneous things like this happen that you wouldn't get if you're just on your bike or if you're on your skateboard, just kind of cruising around downtown or wherever.
It's an instant connection. You're absolutely right. Back in the day, so in my generation, I'm a little bit older than Dom.
A little.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
37. Dom, how old are you?
25.
Okay.
So
much older.
Yeah. Right. No, I'm 37, so...
Oh, you're both
much older.
Retired podcast.
Welcome to Hay Bay City.
Okay, so anyway, back in my day, we used to just skate in our sidewalks all day long. We used to printing off like the maps, like you used to read, okay, here I got to turn here, turn. Same thing. So you're looking at like this printed paper. Okay, to do a kickflip, put your foot at a 45-degree angle just on the side of the bolts, and then you got to put your back foot on the tail, and like, okay, you're trying to figure it out on your own. And then it was just a different experience. You skate to your friend's house, and then you would skate there, and then you go skate to like downtown, and then you would skate, and then you would skate back, and then you would still skate again. And it was just skating all day long and grape Kool-Aid. I don't know why, but grape Kool-Aid was the best. Let me tell you what.
My skate career has been fueled by grape Kool-Aid.
Yes, it has.
Dom, talk to me about the skateboarding scene in Bay City, because like being somebody not from the skateboarding scene, or lots of folks not from the scene, they like, do people actually skateboard here? Tell me a little bit about the scene, the culture of skating here in Bay City.
2007 to 2010 was like the heyday.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you showed up at the Bay City skate park, there'd be, on a nice summer day, there's 20 plus people, 20 plus familiar faces every day. Sun up to sundown, so many cool people. And I think I was 10, 11, 12 during those years, and all of the like older generation, the mid 20s, early 20 skaters, they grew up, they had families, they had careers. So as time went on, they kind of fell off and stuff, and they're not around as much. And then I think there is so much more opportunity for like the generation below me to do everything that they're not finding their way to their skate park as often. So it's kind of like the people who've held on since 2010, a little bit of a new wave, and then like the me's in the middle, the mid-20s who still skateboard and still love it.
I love what you said about the generation behind us just being able to do pretty much everything, because we love to demonize phones and the internet and well, they're just inside. But I think an element of it is that there are so many more options. You know, like AJ and I seeing the X Games, and like that's one of the few really awesome things that you saw. I mean, like look at Travis Pastrana on his
Nitro Circus thing,
Nitro Circus, and you got like Tony Hawk. Like nobody had ever heard of Tony Hawk before, and now he's legitimately world famous. And and you're seeing this happen, and they're going 40 feet in the air, and they're doing things that you never thought. And then you fast forward 20 years, and the world is so much more full of more awesome things. You have so many more options, and then skateboarding, BMX, kind of this X Games scene just kind of evaporates, or it becomes harder to engage younger generation.
It's like almost watered down just because there are so many options, like and so much availability. Like what was, you know, when you guys were younger, there were a small handful. Now it's a plethora. There's so much for everyone.
Right. Let's zoom out a little bit. Dominic, what has kept you skating for so long?
Honestly, I think it's like the learning curve, because it doesn't really stop.
You mean you can always get better, and there's always more to learn. Yeah.
And I was not a sport person. I don't like team sports. I don't like organized sports. But this is something that like you solely compete with yourself, and I think it just drove me a little bit like crazy. Just knowing that I could learn something, but not being able to, and then being like, oh my gosh, like spend an entire day trying to learn something and go home having not learned it. It just stews. And so it's just, you're constantly chasing that for 15 years.
Yeah. AJ, what about you?
Same thing. I gotta say also the people. You know, it's always about the experience. So when we were skating in the streets, and then Midland created their first skate park, and that was a big deal. My dad would take me out there. We'd watch the ground get paved, and then we saw the pavement turn into like bowls, and then finally it opened up. Man, what an experience. So I helped, get on the team with the Bay City, got this park created back in 2000. That was a heck of an experience. But now more than ever, it's the getting better. But then when Major Skate started to come around, then it was so much about like getting the community and getting these younger kids involved and getting them committed, to see them land that first kickflip, to see them land that first drop in, first ollie, and their eyes light up. Yes, I did it. Like that draw will keep me doing this until the day I die. So you were involved in the creation of the Bay City Skate Park? I sure was. My name is on that monument sign.
Really?
Yes, it is.
Tell me about that.
It was really fun. That was back in the day too. I had people like my friends like Matt Behe and Eric Miller and Eric Sullivan. All of us guys, we were a big skate crew back then. And they had this meeting down at the community center, and they brought in this designer from California, and he wanted to take our design. So he kind of pitched his ideas, and then, we closed that meeting. We did another one over by the Sage Library. And that's one where they gave us little clay models. And of course, at that time, Tony Hawk Pro Skater had just come out.
Heck yeah.
So every clay model had some sort of bowl or a half pipe. Let me tell you what. And then like the one thing that took away from that is like, okay, well, you guys definitely want stairs because everybody wants stairs. I'm like, okay, so, but yeah, so he did take all of our feedback, and then that came into the park that we know today.
Wild.
Yes.
How does that make you feel? It is kind of a rare experience to be able to drive down the place where you live and look at something, whether it's a building or a skate park, and say, I helped create that. What is that like?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And not only one now, but it's two. And it just brings a big smile from year to year.
Yeah. Like it's a physical reminder of like what hard work does, and when you bring people together. And then also, I think this is super cool because you have given a gift to the community that other people can use and they can benefit from, and it makes their life better, and they have a place to go.
Right. So now there's a place for kids to go. So people like Dom didn't have to go and get kicked out of the friendship jail by the police. Like
little ruffian.
Never happened to me, but
right.
Some of my friends.
Yeah, I was never there.
Stories I've heard.
Yes, right. So how did the seed for Major Skate begin? When did that idea first come?
As I got my first complete from the internet and I started going back to skate parks, I was just skating for me. I just wanted to get out of the office. Well, next thing you know, like a lot of my muscle memory came over. I started picking it back up, boom, 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 boom. And before I knew it, I was starting to help other kids. And now I was starting to become like the dad of the skate parks. I'm like controlling like the flow. Okay, you next. All right, you next. You next. All right, you come back. You come back. It's okay. Or
The
hey,
skate park chaperone.
right. Hey, buddy, just tweak here. And and parents were like, mom's like, hey, let me give you some money. I'm like, no, just bring me a Gatorade. Like, this is what it's about, And I'm like, this is awesome. Let me do this. And so my dad's like, yeah, you really should. And we just started driving around trying to find buildings, trying to find like right locations, and commercial property, thanks to a certain industry here, is just skyrocketed. So I can't afford it. It's like, okay, I can either build a park or I can buy a building, but I can't do both. And luckily I found this guy, Rob Kennedy, down by Midland Street on Lynn now. And he was building the coffee shop. I'm like, this looks beautiful. Look at this brick. Oh my God, this doesn't have a floor. You know what I can do without a floor right here? This is 16 feet down to the ground. I'm in. Well, he leased that space, but that's okay. But he leased the 4th space. So I'm like, okay, 2 and 3, I want it. Just sign me up right then and there. Finding that right location, the brick, the location, it was like a quarter mile from the skate park. I got walking customers right there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So it sounds like that Major Skate really was birthed because not necessarily because of skateboarding, but because of teaching skateboarding.
Yes, 100%.
Wow. Thank you, kids at the skate park for helping give us this.
They planted that seed.
They did. They really did, because coming to the Bay City Park, it was still like I was starting to get like these young 20s, and I'm like, hey, I can still teach you, and then they're learning transition for the first time. So they were spending months trying to ollie and kickflip, and next thing you know, I can just tweak it. Here, drop in. Okay, now you can pump. Now you can carve. Now you can rock to fakie. Now you can kick turn, and they're just, I'm in. I'm sold.
And also in that the teaching, you're helping cultivate the scene.
Yes.
In Bay City by saying you can get better, you can learn this, you can experience this. You're taking away some of the learning curve because skateboarding is hard.
It is.
And so you can take away some of that frustration, and now they enjoy it more, and now they become lifelong skaters.
Of course. It's that instant feedback. I mean, even creating your podcast, how cool would it have been to be like, oh, listen, you don't want that cable, you want this cable. Hey, no, don't use that mic. You want to use this mic, use this program.
Yep. Dominic, for you, when did you get involved in Major Skate?
He kind of brought it up when it was still in its infant state and just saying like, hey, I think I'm going to do this. And no disrespect to AJ, but a lot of people in the past have like said, oh, we're going to look into this, do this. And
Wouldn't it be cool if we had insert a blank? Yeah.
And so I kind of just like took it with a grain of salt. I was like, dude, sweet, like let me know, keep me, And then he didn't stop. He was like, hey, I'm moving back to Bay City soon. And I was like, oh, what? Yeah, no, I gotta play it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my God, like this is a real thing. And so I can't take much credit for the labor intensive early stages because I was very busy. I held a couple hammers and drills,
Yeah.
But
supervised.
I would like to take credit, but I can't. And so I just kind of was in the space as often as I could and, helped spread the word. I do have a lot of friends, skate community friends and people who have been told those same things since 2010. Like when the old skate shop closed and we had nothing, all the talk of a new one opening, but then once they realized it was real, I may not have lifted stuff, but I sent some messages, which did something.
Right.
Which I'm forever grateful for.
Yeah, I mean, you can build something, but if people don't go and they don't use it, your thing you built is going to be the thing that you built once, and it didn't quite work.
Right.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, it was super scary too, because I'm not very strong with social media. Like, okay, Facebook, I have a little bit of a following, sure, because I am military and all my Verizon family and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I started to realize who Dom was and his skateboarding that he had done in the past and the skateboarding he still does today. I'm like, boy, actually, this guy's really good. Oh, he's really popular. Like, hey man, would you post something like no pressure, you don't have to, but like, would you just post like, hey, Major Skate's kind of cool,
right?
He's like, no, dude, I 100% support this, and like the way that he handled that, and he was just like, absolutely, I want to see you succeed. You're my friend, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna make it successful. I'm like, awesome.
I'm going to take a moment to kind of gush over this dynamic because it says so much about what communities need to make something cool. Here comes this person with an idea that everybody's kind of said before because it is a need, but now he actually does it. And he's actually, this is actually going to be a thing.
Yeah.
But then also you saying, connecting with the community and knowing who you have to talk to and what they can bring to the table. I mean, Dominic is evidently great at holding a couple hammers, but he's
just one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time. You don't want to get too taxing on him. But the thing that he brings to the table is the connection to the demographic, to the people that are going to actually use the space, and then he can be the bearer of trust and say, "No, AJ's actually doing this, guys. This is going to be rad," and that's, I mean, priceless. Where did the idea for an indoor place come in?
I think it was always there. Essentially, I wanted a pump track. And
what is a pump track for people that don't know?
Okay. A pump track is essentially, think of like NASCAR, where it's just one big lap. Now put like some hills in between so you can go up and down, and then kind of curves around. You just kind of keep an even flow. Something that bikes can do, roller skates, roller blades, scooters, and skateboards.
Okay. So how did the indoor skate park come in after the pump track?
Finding the right location, it was okay. Now I need to design, because this is all or nothing. I need to go big or go home. And I went on to Facebook group, Mini Ramp Lifestyle. I said, hey, looking for a couple Michiganders. We're gonna have some impacts. Gonna swing some hammers. We're gonna build a half pipe and maybe something else. But I'm looking for engineered designs. And of course, everyone did their whole tagging thing. And this one guy DMs me out of Minnesota, Dave Shine, and he says, hey, I know this is weird, but like, I built ramps for the X Games. I built ramps for Steve Caballero, his backyard ramp.
Oh, wow.
Christian Hoystoy, Sky Brown, Tony Hawk. I'm like, okay, don't really fully believe you, but I got to take a risk because like it's all or nothing.
Right.
So I'm actually at Army school. I'm just like texting them back and forth, like in between breaks. And all right, well, let me buy your ticket, fly you out here. And so this guy flies from Minnesota, drives in from Detroit up to Bay City. It's like dark, it's cold, it's February. There's a utility light in the space, and he walks around. I show him my business plan, like, hey, here's Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Here's the Zoomies stores, and here's my other competitions. And other than that, here's the Open Michigander map,
Mm-hmm.
And here's all my ideas. He takes that. He's like, listen, I like your attitude. I like your motivation. I think you're trying to open at the wrong time. I think you're trying to open up with the wrong obstacles. I think you got a terrible business idea. And I'm just like, okay, all right.
The harsh reality.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But he's like, I really trust what you're doing here. It sounds like you really have a good understanding of the business and what you want to do and why here and why now. So let me put together a plan. I'm not gonna take your idea because it sucks. I can't say that. But
you can say that.
Okay. But I'm going to tweak it a little bit, and I'm going to give you a plan. So 3 days later, he sends me inside majorskate.us. I got all the pictures of what I sent, and then like black and white architecture, all boom, 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 boom. And then to the 3D designs and to the final product. And he sends it over, and I'm just like, wow. He called me to walk me through it. I'm like, I see it. Because, in my other job, I read construction plans. So I'm like, okay, I see it. I love this. This is great. I'm in. And so I signed our contract to do that before I actually signed the lease, believe it or not.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Big commitment.
So, big commitment, hoping that the lease is going to work out. But,
Wow. This is another great layer I love too, because here you are saying, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right.
Yes.
And reaching out to people who are more experienced that have done this before. I mean, such a killer way to go about it, because you could have said, no, I want to make it the AJ way. This is going to be AJ skate. And pretty much you just end up hacking your way through it. It's not any good. Things are falling apart. You end up spending 5 times as much when just reaching out to somebody for help ended up connecting you with somebody who's world-class at what they do. They know enough to be able to say, everything that you're thinking right now is absolutely wrong. It's not going to work. Let me fix it for you. And now we've been given a great gift of something that you can be proud of, that will work, that is beneficial. all of that stuff simply because you were willing at one point to say, somebody help me.
Yes. Listen. You gotta listen.
Yeah.
I said that in the vet panel as well. You cannot do it by yourself. Cannot.
So, Dominic, what do you think about what has been created at Major Skate?
I think it is honestly pretty much perfect. Given the space, it's not some insanely huge, wide open building.
Right.
And there's no disrespect. There's a lot of ways to do it wrong. And that was my fear. Like right out of the gate, I was like, man, what if it's a couple ramps and some dinky stuff and everyone hates it, and it was all this excitement for nothing. For it to turn out the way it did with both you and Dave, like masterminding the whole thing, it couldn't have came out better.
Yeah, because you could have showed up at Major Skate and AJ,
hammer in hand.
Yeah, hammer in hand, and then like AJ comes up to you like, bro, I got this really cool 2-foot rail from Play It Again Sports, and it's over there, and they had this like fiberglass ramp that's over there, and now you know that this is not actually going to be a thing, but walking in there and saying, no, this is legit. I mean, that makes all the difference.
Yes, and during that entire construction time, I was not like a happy camper. I was very focused. It was like long days, and I was very like task oriented. Even friends and family that came in to see, I'm like, okay, great, gotta go back to work.
Okay, bye. Yeah.
Right. Like, I know you want to sit and talk. I can't. Yeah, you got to go.
When did you sign the lease for the building?
I was the end of April.
April of what year?
21. Yes.
Yeah, 2021.
No, 2022.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the 1 year anniversary of us meeting.
Oh, holy moly!
Special day.
2022. And then when did construction actually start?
That was dragged out, but it was the end of May until the beginning of August. And it was tough because the landlord had his work to do. Of course, we're trying to build out the ramps. Right. And then I still had the store to build, which was like the last part. So like the first week of August, really just me completing the store. And then final things with the landlord and trying to get that approved to get opened.
Yeah, very cool. So give me, AJ, a 101 of Major Skate. Talk to me like I'm a skateboarder. When I walk into Major Skate, what kinds of things am I going to see there? Include your shop as well.
Of course. So you're going to walk in the door and you're going to be greeted by positivity, because the one thing that I really strive for is customer experience. That is the one thing that we can provide all the time, and you can't get it on the internet. So customer experience is going to be number one. You're gonna first see all the colorful trucks and the wheels, and I actually have a little tactical little ploy here. You're gonna come in, you're gonna see the very first thing that everyone's familiar with, stickers. You're gonna come in, you're gonna go to the sticker, you're gonna kind of look, but your eyes are gonna kind of go up. You're gonna see the boards, all the boards on the walls, like as many photos as you have. I have boards. You're gonna see the ramps. You're like, oh my god, there's ramps here. I didn't even think that there you could have a skate park in here. And then you're gonna see me with my big old smile. So what's going on today? And I love it here because I can start to walk into the store. I can start showing you the decks and see all that cool thing and say, hey, well, come and check out the ramps. And you're gonna hear me say, watch your step, put safety first. Yeah. And as you go up into the ramps, I hear it every day. Wow. Because there's so many different factors in there. You've got things called like pool coping, which you can't get anywhere else except for like Saginaw, but that's 9 feet high. So with pool coping, it's kind of unique and different, but there's no other place to learn except for Major Skate. And then you have like this acrylic see-through window that has a Michigan inside of it, which I actually showed the lieutenant governor. That was amazing. But I love that because as people walk by to the coffee shop, they look and they can see skateboards go in and out. I can even see like people when they're driving by and then see someone go up or down that ramp. You just see the brakes and then the rubberneck and they back up.
What's going on in there?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then over there into the half pipe, and you can go over a spine, which is just very beautiful. Like the next closest best spine would honestly probably be at least an hour and a half away. So there's nowhere else to learn on such a beautiful spine. And then it goes into a 12-foot vert wall, which is a little narrow, but it's super cool. Like I've never experienced anything like that before.
So it sounds like the Major Skate is one, a great place to enjoy if you're a great skater, but then also if you're not a great skater, this is such a great place to learn because like it's manageable. It's not a 9-foot drop in and things like that. No. It's something that you can say, okay, if I bail, cool, I can get up and keep practicing.
That was my left and right limits to Dave, because I said I don't really care about advanced skaters, because advanced skaters they can skate anything. We can skate this
True.
coffee cup for 3 hours.
True.
Not a big deal. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I would not skate that for 3.
That's why you're here, Dominic. You got to rein AJ in a little bit.
Us cool advanced skaters.
Like 2 hours max.
Oh, okay. Got it. But I want is the beginners. I want them to go from A to B without having to ollie, without having to worry about stairs, without having to do a Euro gap. Like, I want them to be able to roll. And that's been so pivotal, because I have this great method, great learning plan. I can get any skater to come in and honestly, the first day, get them on and off the board, ride back and forth comfortably, and even start riding down a hill, if not even dropping in on the first day.
From my perspective, here's Bay City. You guys are relatively new. Major Skate comes onto the scene. I would have thought that Major Skate would have opened and people would have been like, cool, skateboarding. Who actually skateboards today? But there was such an explosion of, holy crap, this is so cool. This is so cool. I've never skated before. This is so cool. This is so cool. Like, look at Major Skate. A lieutenant governor of Michigan comes to Major Skate
Yes.
to check it out. How has the feedback been from your perspective? AJ first, and then Dominic, I'll ask you next.
Sure. So for me, I'm not even selling skateboards. I'm not really selling lessons. What I'm selling is confidence and self-motivation. It never fails. I see these parents, they bring in their child, and the child's very shy or very not happy with other sports, but they leave with a smile, and they leave saying, I can do it. And they leave saying, I want to come back, and let's get the schedule. Let's come back tomorrow. Let's come back later today. And I see it, and it fills my heart with joy. It really does.
Yeah. Dominic, what about you? How have you seen the community respond to Major Skate?
I think growing up, to relate it to like the outdoor skate park, a lot of families are like, oh no, like we would never go there. And then back to what AJ was saying, that warm smile, like welcome when you come in. People talk about that. People remember that. And so they're like, wow, this place is ran by some great people. It has a nice atmosphere. And then they see what skateboarding actually is. Because when all you know is, oh, that skate park's a bad place, they don't look, they don't go see it. And so no one has that interest. But when this guy is freaking smiling at you, it's hard to not listen to him and go look at the ramps.
AJ, are you the Ted Lasso of skateboarding?
I will neither confirm nor deny that.
Well,
I'll let someone come into the shop and decide for themselves.
Yeah, well, it's such a good point that, like, yes, it is about skateboarding, but it's also, you got to layer in the experience there.
Yes.
How do you, what kind of experience? It's more than just a half pipe. You want kids to walk away saying, I can do this. You want everybody walking away saying, I just spent a really fun hour here at this place, and it didn't feel weird. I didn't feel unwelcome. I didn't feel like I wasn't good enough to be there, and I was just kind of getting in people's way. People are looking for an experience, and kind of referencing what we were talking about earlier, people having options, especially with the internet. You got to make it so that people need to walk in the door to actually get that kind of experience, to feel what it's like to learn a trick, to be able to land that, to be able to spend 2 weeks in a place surrounded by people that love you and want to support you and want to encourage you and help you accomplish something, and then actually do that. I mean, you can't get that on the internet. You can't get that anywhere else.
No, I think I'd like to just plug in just a quick story. Even yesterday, so I had this guy come in 2 days before. He had paid for a session, and then he got a phone call. He got right onto the ramps. He got a phone call. He's like, listen, I got to go. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Come on back later. Okay. Well, he never came back. So the following day I texted him and said, hey, you paid for a session yesterday. I'm putting a note in your account. Just come back. We're going to honor that session. Cool, man. Thank you so much. Well, he comes back yesterday, and he couldn't come back at a better time because one of my heroes, there's a guy named Kyle who was, I'll just say he was a pro.
Kyle.
I love Kyle. He was a pro skater when I was still a young skater, right? So, but he was there. He had gotten back into the game, and he's bringing his children, which is super cool. Like every day that he comes in, which by the way, today's his birthday, so happy birthday, Kyle.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
But so he's there. He's skating with me. I'm skating with Kyle, and that's a great time. And then now this guy comes back and he honors that free session. Well, he wasn't. He's still learning. He's still a beginner skater, but he comes over to us like, how do I drop in? So here's Kyle and I showing this guy how to drop in, and he's just going for it. Did he fall? Sure. But like, they keep getting closer and closer and closer. Yes. And that's what it's all about. Like, you have all these skill levels and you don't have to worry about attitudes. You don't have to worry about like getting like harsh treatment. It's just welcoming. It's come on over. We're going to give you a turn. Come on over and we're going to help you out. And we're going to give you that little small tweak and it's going to get closer and closer and closer. As long as you're willing to try, you're going to get it. You will eventually get it.
Maybe this is a question that can't be answered, but I grew up BMX. That was my thing. And then a little bit of inline. Never got into skateboarding just because it was so hard. And I just like I can't do that. I can ride a bike and I can kind of sit there on my bike and look like I know what I'm doing. But on a skateboard, like I can't even skate 2 inches without falling off. But in experiencing all these different scenes, the BMX scene, the inline scene, and the skateboarding, there's something about the culture around skateboarding that is just different. I mean, it is, you can feel it deep in the roots of skateboarding that it is exactly what you're saying, that it is supportive, that it is very community focused, that it's more laid back. Dominic, where do you think that comes from?
Honestly, without taking away from BMX and rollerblading and stuff,
yeah,
you can put those on your feet. You can put some rollerblades on your feet, and you can in 30 seconds go a little bit. You can sit on a bike and pedal once you learn.
Right.
To take those pushes on a skateboard, it's pretty humbling right out of the gate.
Going from point A to point B is difficult.
The amount of people that have like wanted to stand on my skateboard and their brain like can't process the balance and to take a push,
right?
And they fall or shoot out the board and they, got to catch them. It humbles you right out of the gate. And I don't know the other communities too well, but I would say that reduces a lot of egos because everyone knows what they're kind of getting into. They know that they're human and they're like, wow, I suck at this right away. And these people are better than me, but that's okay because I want to get there. You know what I mean? Like, rather than someone thinking they're a hot shot, everyone comes into it with the same like open mind and willingness to admit that they're not perfect.
Yeah, I don't want to take this metaphor too far, but it similar experience to like being in the military. Like you're going through an experience that not a lot of other people experience, and so you have you create a form of empathy and understanding that you can really only extend to other members of the military. And here at skateboarding, it's similar. Like you were just immediately humbled from the second that you step on this board. Like, how is it even possible to do anything cool with this at all? Like, I can't even stand on it. And so you understand what other skaters have been through in order to get to the point where you can do a kickflip, and now you can do more than a kickflip, and now you can grind that rail. Holy crap, this is great.
And the best part is like that person that can do all those things sees that person, I see the AJ trying to go into that thing and it's like, man, I remember that feeling. Not like, oh man, that dude sucks. It's like we all started up that curve. And so it's like, we can relate on that. Hey, I struggled with that too,
Right.
And that's the connection that forms from every skill level, I think.
Kind of talking more about this combination of skating and military and building a community. You have military challenge coins.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how do I get a challenge coin?
Well, you have to earn it. You can't ask for it. You can't buy it. There's no amount of money. It's really something that you had to do for the shop. And it could be anything. It could be as much as like, hey, I donated these 10 boards for young riders just to have. Great. That's really cool. Or it could be, hey, you helped build the ramps. Like everyone that, helped in the construction, especially like my employees, they got a coin, right? Challenge coin. Without my parents, this definitely would not be happening. My dad was like, okay, we're looking at building state. Boom, 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 boom. My mom's like, okay, let me help you with finances. Let me help you with, trying to understand all this paperwork they have to submit. And I'm still trying to figure all that out. But, she helps me and puts up with all my millions of questions. So, God bless you, Mom. Love you. But it says a major skate on one side and established 2022. And then on the other side, it's the Wheel of Excellence. It's a full wheel, and then you can see like the bearing and then the nut axle. So it's like a skateboard wheel. Yeah.
I love this because it's not related to you how good of a skateboarder you are.
No.
You're so on point with the mission of Major Skate being, yes, skateboarding, but more than that you get this not by asking or by doing some awesome trick nobody else can do, but it's how else have you contributed to this place? And here's a way to recognize that.
Yes.
Super cool. super cool.
Yeah, on the other note, it was the same thing that we started for the community. It was one day there was one of my riders that came in. He's like, "Hey, I want to skate today, but I don't know if I get paid today." And he sees all of his friends skating. I'm like, "Listen, dude, go grab your board." I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, you see all your friends, but you can't pay, so you gotta go."
You can watch through the window.
Yeah, you can watch through the window. You can come in and say hi, but that's about it. No, so I'm like, "Go grab your board, dude." And the guy that I was with was actually another veteran that we served with, and he's like, "No, tell you what, here's $20. Let me pay his session. The next guy's." Oh, that's really cool. And then one of my other riders was, "Well, here's another $20. So let me just buy another 2 passes for another people." So I started this new program, Pass the Stoke. And so for $10, you can buy another session for another rider. And I've gone through at least 50 sessions already. Yeah. So now any rider that's at the Bay City Park, or they're just out, or they're just a young rider, they don't have the money, they can come on in, they can use a free pass, no questions asked. Let's skateboard. Skate.
How cool.
Yeah.
Broadening the subject a little bit. Dominic, first for you. How is skateboarding, how is Major Skate, however you want to take it, how has it changed your life, improved you as a person?
Honestly, I think it's kind of reignited my whole sense of community.
Major Skate has?
Definitely.
Okay.
Because
explain.
so in 2020 I broke my leg pretty bad. And that pretty much like halted my serious skateboarding because I had done it for so long. And then pretty much started from like ground zero, which is super demoralizing, demotivating, and kind of just like lost that spark. And then kind of putzing around skateboarding again. And then that was like, what? This brand new thing in my hometown that's like turning heads left and right from people I used to see here all the time, and really brought the community back together in such a crazy way. Like, people I have texted once in the last 8 years have been like, "Hey, I'm going today, blah, blah, blah."
Cool.
And it's just a very wholesome just excitement. And I haven't felt that in a very long time for skateboarding.
It sounds like it was a way for you to reconnect with really kind of the foundation of skateboarding and the skateboarding community, that yes, it is about you and what you can do and in your experience of it, but at the same time, there's other ways that you can contribute. There's other ways that you can get excited and feel energized about this thing that you love. And are you recovered now?
I would say realistically, I'm going to be at like an 80% for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I have 2 plates and like 34 screws in my leg.
Wow.
So not the best.
Yeah.
But it's good.
But the timing of this Major Skate coming onto the scene at the same time you broke your leg. I mean, how cool is that? You could have been wallowing in, my leg is broken, but here a little injection of energy and love for it. That's super cool.
He has some infectious positivity in the best way.
Ted Lasso. AJ, what about you? How has skateboarding changed your life, made it better, Major Skate?
Sure, but first, if you didn't break that leg, you'd be like skating for Eric Costin at the barracks right now. So, I'm kind of grateful that you broke your leg.
Everything happens for a reason.
That it does. Okay, so I gotta say, it just really increased the passion. It's been phenomenal to meet some of these new friends. So again, with Dom, then comes Matt Miller, comes with Pat, what comes with this guy named Bennett that just blows my mind every time I see him skate. Dayton, all of these guys, Sean Deere, all these different skaters I just never ever would have met. And it's been absolutely fantastic. It grows my heart even more, grows my passion even more. Now I just want to teach that new generation. I'm getting these younger riders, and I teach everyone from 5 to 55. And in a normal curve, I get even less than that, and I get older than that. So, and it's absolutely incredible to see them go from, I don't know if I can get on a board, to actually doing something. They get so excited about it. And yes, you can do it. It just increases the passion even more, increases the heart even more.
So thinking broadly, not even necessarily to folks who skateboard, but what do you want to bring to Midland Street, to Bay City, to Bay County with Major Skate?
Place of positivity. This is my final, I say that now, but I'm still very young. But this is my final straw. Like, this is my thing I'd like to bring to Bay City. I'd like to see it grow. I'd like to do a couple more locations. I'd like to see the growth. And eventually, the big long-term goals in my 10-year plan is I do want to move upstairs to the building and put some additional features up there. But I want to work with the city of Bay City. I want to do a big old community pump track, which will then bring everybody from Michigan into Bay City. And that's for bikes, rollerblades, scooters, everyone. Free pump track that's just going to be outside of the park. I'd like to expand the skate park too. There's some obstacles that we could definitely use. Like to grow that. And then also, I'd like to keep that community growing by doing these scholarships. There's a place in Pennsylvania called Woodward. It's like Disney World for skateboards. Like every teenager that skateboards knows Woodward, and man. And in fact, there's a guy named Dayton. He went to Woodward and he come out and he flies. Like he could fly over this room. I'm telling you, it's just amazing to watch. But I want to do a scholarship and start sending kids over to Woodward and then have them come back and be on a skate team. And then, that will then transfer to the next Olympian skateboarder will come out of Bay State, Michigan.
Woo!
Yes.
Dominic, what effect do you want Major Skate to have on the community at large?
Honestly, it's already kind of had the effect that I've wanted. Now it has something that everyone can kind of, whether they're into skateboarding or not, they can come check it out. We had a contest this Saturday and there were like 8 people just walked in to watch. And it's just so awesome to like open that many eyes just one day, and not to mention the Midland Street foot traffic. People walk by, they hear the loud clunking of skateboards and they come in and just like they get that experience. They see the people, they meet these really nice, positive people who enjoy skateboarding, and they tell their kids. And then that's how it like blooms into something that it used to be 10 years ago.
What I love about what you guys are doing is one, you're bringing an activity to the community, something that people can do, something that I can do more than once, something that can become a part of my everyday or my every other day, or what I love to do for fun, something I do for myself, or something that I do to meet people. And I love that, but I also love how this is really a story of how you following something that you love and then finding a way to make a big idea happen can help the community at large. You're not going into it saying, well, what is something that I can get 1 million people all interested in this area? You can say, I love skateboarding. I love the feeling of teaching people skateboarding. This is something I want more people to feel. I'm going to make this idea work. And by doing that, and you get more and more people doing that, that's how you create this even more beautiful and vibrant and interesting, because you might not be into skateboarding and that's cool, but you might be into watercolor. And so now you've got a weekend watercolor group and you start that, or you love carving birds and now you start a club over there. Like you're finding your niche and your interest and you're blowing it up into a better idea. And then that is naturally attractive to more people.
I have this group of roller derby girls that come in now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it started with 1 and then went to 2, and now I get the whole crew. And it's just so amazing because they never skated ramps before, always the big wooden circle, but never ramps. And they just have a riot.
Awesome.
It's wonderful to watch.
And that's got to be cool for Major Skate too, because here are people from an entirely different scene coming in and having experiencing your scene.
So much fun.
Yeah, I can imagine just blow the roof off that place.
Yeah, they are very loud, like woo, and they're just cheering. It's just so great.
Oh, I love
so much positivity.
I love it. So if people listen to this podcast and they're interested in Major Skate, how do they go finding out information about you, where you're at, with session times, all that stuff?
All right, let me just plug in www.majorskate.us. Majorskate.us connects our calendar for booking. So Facebook and Instagram also go to majorskate.us, and that's where you can book your schedule your appointments and your lessons. You can also book out the entire skate park too if you want. So I do have that, but more importantly, just stop on in 106 South Lynn Street, Suite C. You can't miss Major Skate. We're right in the middle. We got all the bees on one side, and then there's going to be a studio on the other. But nonetheless, come on in. I have a book, and I'm going to treat you like a dentist. We're going to go through our lesson, but then afterwards, I'm going to pull out my calendar and my agenda, and I'm going to say, okay, well, let's book what next Tuesday looks like for you. I'm going to schedule you in 3:00. Okay.
Oh, very cool.
And I'll see you next week.
With AJ's smiling face. So I love what you guys are doing. I hope that you accomplish all these goals of expanding. I hope that you're raising the next generation of skaters in Bay City, and then we'll be looking for the next Olympic skateboarder coming from Bay City.
It'll happen.
Okay, holding you to it. I've been talking with AJ and Dominic of Major Skate over on Midland Street. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing and for this conversation today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Cut.